Hello, all you people out there in internet land. My name is Britt Kolick. I use they, she pronouns. I'm a professional stage manager, and today I'm answering more of your questions. I guess more appropriately, I'm answering 7th graders' questions. The week that I am filming this, I spoke at a career day at my former junior high. It's now middle school. Got to speak with some 7th graders. I've done career days at my former middle and high school the past 4 years now. I've had a blast doing it, and special shout out this year because I live in New York now and I'm not at home. Both schools have allowed me to do this virtually, so big shout out to them. And last year I did the middle school one virtually as well because I was away on a contract. And I really stepped my game up this year because last year I was in tech. I really wasn't thinking like how to make a Zoom call more interesting. And I actually woke up, it was the Ides of March, because I remember feeling so betrayed by my own body. I woke up so incredibly sick that morning and just, I really thought I've bombed like 6 presentations. So this year I wanted to really put my A game in. I pulled up templates for like rehearsal and performance reports. That way I could show the kids what I was talking about as I was talking about those processes. And I tried to talk for about 15 minutes of the 30. That way I gave them time to ask me questions. If no questions came up, I pulled up my website and talked about Mean Girls props and the Much Ado About Nothing set because those are the 2 most recent things that I've built and I find them to be very interesting. So, and just a big tip for anybody who's going to do a career day, whether in middle school or a high school, I always offer up, especially because I went to the middle school and the high school, I always say, you want to ask me anything about my time in middle school or junior high. Anything you want to talk about, like what was my high school experience like? What was my college experience like? How did I pick my college? Why did I pick my college? What did I do in college? And I also offer it up because I work with all different aspects of theater. Do you want to hear about directing, acting, designing? Does anyone have questions about those fields? I can answer some stuff. I'm not an expert, but if you have a question, I'll try to answer it. I try to open it up to talk about as much as possible because I know a lot of people don't want to pursue theater. So I want everyone to get something out of it, even if it's just, why did you go to the college you went to? Or what did you want to be in 8th grade? So I like that question a lot. Actually, we'll start with that. I have in the past been asked, what did I want to do when I was in 7th and 8th grade? And I actually told them, I said, any teacher in this school will back me up on this. I wanted to be a writer. And I say that it's still sort of, my dream is I want to be a writer. I still write a lot. Writing is one of those things that when I come home from rehearsal or a show, after the report gets sent, if I'm in bed and my brain won't calm down, I will hop on my computer and start writing or editing whatever I'm working on or I fancy at the time to help like just calm my brain down. So that's what I wanted to be in 8th grade. And I still want to be a writer. I got asked several times how long I was in school for, and I went to school for 4 years. I completed my undergraduate degree in 4 years, and this brings up my favorite fun facts that I'm unsure if they're still true. However, I think they still stand, is that 80% of college freshmen change their major at least once, and it takes about 50% of people 5 years to complete a 4-year degree. I think those are 2 really important facts to tell young people, especially those who think that they want to pursue an undergraduate degree, because I think it helps everyone feel a little less alone and everyone a little bit more comfortable in their own journey, knowing that 80% of college freshmen change their mind. And what they wanted to study when they went in didn't end up being what they loved and what they really wanted to pursue, so they changed it. And the 5 years to take a 4-year degree, everyone's on their own pace. It could be personal things, it could be academic things, it could be a whole host of things that prevent you from completing a degree in the 4 years it is supposed to take. I actually said that fact once, and a teacher said, it took me 5 years to do my undergraduate degree, which was supposed to be 4 years. And I thought, how awesome is that? And how awesome that these students get to hear that and can talk to her about that and about the emotional aspect of it. You know, how did it feel? Did you feel like you were behind? Did it feel lonely? Did it feel isolating? Did you feel like a failure? And talk through those very normal emotions. So, but it took me 4 years to complete my 4-year degree, even with the pandemic and everything. And I did fairly well in school. I had a very good GPA. I always get asked what kind of famous people I've worked with, or who's the most famous person I've ever worked with. To me, the most famous person I've ever worked with was the stage manager for Wicked. I did a PA gig with a stage manager from Wicked in December. And one kid in the front row, their eyes went super wide when I said that. But acting-wise, Perry King and Priscilla Barnes came to my college Perry King came several times to my college, and Priscilla Barnes, those two came as a pair one time because they were doing love letters and they got to speak to our class. And I actually, is really cool. I have the program and it's signed by both of them, and I have my ticket from seeing love letters and I have it framed. And I have a photo with Perry King. EB, if we have it, can we throw it up there? Thank you. My mom is a big Perry King fan. That's why I got the photo. Perry King's from my college's town, the town that my college is in. He's from that town, and his actually childhood home is an Alpha Delta Pi house, which is so kind of crazy to think about. But Perry King was really, really cool. And then Priscilla Barnes, people know from the Mindy Project. At least that's what we had one girl in my class like freak out about it. She was a big like Mindy Project fan. Priscilla Barnes and Perry King, probably the two most famous actors I've worked with to date. And then for me personally, just working with a stage manager from Wicked, that was my sort of big like geek out moment. But I always get asked that a lot. A lot of the like 7th graders usually want to know about famous people, and I really wish I could hit them with someone cool like Kristen Chenoweth or Sutton Foster, but one of these days. I had a teacher ask me, who has definitely seen me present in past years, if I have done any fight choreography lately. Unfortunately, I have not. I gotta get on finding fight classes and intimacy classes and seeking certification, because those are two things that I really want to pursue. If you haven't seen how geeked out I am about stage combat, go watch my reacting to my stage combat midterm and final. Huge lover of stage combat and intimacy choreography. But I did get to talk briefly about my experience with fight choreography and with intimacy choreography, and I got to use a lot of really good appropriate language, like talking about dagger, rapier, which is just a sword, quarterstaff, which is like a bow staff. It's a long stick basically, and talking about firearms, both firearms that are just like hard plastic that don't do anything, and firearms like a starter's pistol where you actually have to load something into it, and then talking about intimacy and how it's anything from a kiss to simulated intercourse. And I get to expose these students at a very young age to the correct terminology, and I get to speak very professionally about it. And I just, for some reason, that really is like something that I enjoy, is speaking very professionally about these topics, that it's really easy to just say gun or to say having sex, but to use the proper terminology and to take away the intensity that the word gun has or the word sex has, to talk about it as intercourse, to talk about it as a firearm, to talk about it in this very professional manner. It's just something I really enjoy doing. But no, I have not choreographed any fighting lately. I want to though. I really do. It's a goal of mine. I got asked several times about money, which was cool because especially in 7th grade, no one ever really asked me about the money. And I got to talk about my stipends versus an equity gig. Just real briefly, we'll talk about that. I've been paid anywhere from like $300 and as a stipend to the small professional theater that I worked at under the equity contract. I believe I was paid either $570 or $590, and the take-home pay for that after taxes and union dues and healthcare and all of that sort of stuff was $475. And I got to talk about the differences. A stipend is a whole lump sum that you get at the end of a contract, or sometimes you will get paid it in 2 installments, one at the start of the run of the show and then one at the end. You usually get paid at the end to ensure that you will stay on the project and do what you've been contracted to do, because there have been horror stories about people taking the money and running. And then of course, when you have an equity contract, when you're in the union or you are on an equity contract and on a union contract, you get paid weekly, and they take out all of the one lump sum of the stipend. They don't take out taxes or anything for that. You have to go figure that out come tax season. With the equity gig, they take all that stuff out for you, and then it's really nice because then what I sort of consider is just like my lump sum afterwards. I'm like, oh, this is all free and clear, and I can do whatever I want with it because I don't have to worry about paying anything back to the government. They've already taken all of that out. Yeah, I got paid $300 to do a black box festival, which was like 15 straight days worth of work. Got paid a $300 stipend at the end of that. That was something that was worth it to me. Other people might say that that's not worth it, but to me it was. In Pittsburgh, for 2.5 months to 3 months, I, as an ASM, was paid $800. As a stage manager, was paid $1,200. And that was a stipend that was paid at the end. I worked at a company in Maryland that paid me $1,000 stipend for a month's worth of work. It was literally 30 days worth of work. I got paid that in 2 installments, one at the start of the show and then one at the end of the run. So I got paid like the first like opening weekend and then I got paid at closing weekend. They also provided me housing, and the housing was underneath the theater in a furnished apartment. So I didn't have to do anything involving like a lot of commuting to and from. The Pittsburgh CLO has been very good to me. For a 4-week contract, they paid me $1,000 stipend, and the CLO Academy has a relationship with one of the parking garages in Pittsburgh, so they offer heavily discounted parking. So I was getting a discounted parking and then, of course, the stipend, so that saved me a ton of money. The CLO Academy gigs were some of the only gigs I did in Pittsburgh where I actually made money, because I track all of my gas and all of my parking and add that all up at the end. The CLO, after all of that was covered, I actually had a very nice little chunk left over afterwards. So that was sort of like one of my made it moments was, oh my God, this stipend covered everything and I had money after, yay. The ATD gigs as well, those were like 5 to 6 week contracts, maybe even 5 to 7 week contracts. I'm trying to think. It was just over a month usually. I got paid $1,000 for that. But again, I got housing provided, and the town that I did my summer stock in, Alliance, Ohio, college town, everything's super close to each other. So I wasn't driving a ton, which was always very helpful. If you guys want like a whole finance video, let me know about it and I can tell you guys about how and why I track my mileage and my gas and all of that sort of stuff. But if you guys want like more in-depth video and stipends versus the equity gig, let me know. I'll happily try to do a video about all of that. But then of course the equity gig, after taxes and everything, I was getting paid like $475 a week, and did that for about five weeks, I want to say, because I came in a week late. So, and that was the most money I'd ever been paid doing theater. And that was the first time I could pay my bills solely doing theater. So again, that was a very, very big moment for me. Really cool that they wanted to know about the financial aspect though. That was something that was really interesting and I really appreciated. I had a girl ask me in like class number 2 if I was happy. She is the only person I think that's ever asked me that question, is if like I'm happy. And I said, absolutely, I'm happy. I love what I do. I have the best job in the world. I'll tell that to anybody. I have the best job in the world. I do not care what you do. I have the best job in the world. I believe that wholeheartedly. That was actually a really great way for me to talk about when I talked about my attitude is everything video, the changing from I have to do to I get to do. A lot of this job is about having gratitude and being grateful for working, because you have a lot of friends who aren't working. So changing it from I have to go to rehearsal to I get to go to rehearsal. I have to go to this performance. I get to go to this performance. So I got to talk a little bit about that, but I thought it was really cool that at like 12 or 13, like that age in 7th grade, somebody asked me if I was happy and if I like enjoyed what I did. And absolutely, I'm happy. I wouldn't trade my job for the world. I have the best job in the world. I get to make magic happen and work with incredible people and do all this cool stuff. And that's the thing, is I may not be happy every day, like day to day, like you have bad days and you have rough moments, but I wouldn't trade my worst day in theater for my best day anywhere else. And I know that I love my job, because even on the nights that I come in and it's like I don't get to bed till 2 a.m. and I have to get up and do it all again the next day, I get up and without hesitation or complaint, I go to work and I love it. Absolutely love it. I think in that same class, or it could have been a different class, I do remember it was very early on in the day because my brain was still trying to wake up, is somebody asked me what the hardest part about my job is. And with no hesitation, no second thought, no nothing, I said, oh, taking care of myself is the hardest part of my job, which is not a lie. And I don't know if that was because I was fighting a cold like that whole week. So my whole mindset was wake up, drink a bunch of water, eat meals regularly, do what I need to do like for work and stuff, and then try to like sleep as much as possible, because I was really just trying not to feel like crap. That is a big part of theater, no matter what aspect that you do. And I think it's a big part for me. If you know me, I have always struggled with putting myself first and putting my needs above other people's. And I have to remind myself on contracts, sometimes I have to take care of me in order to take care of other people. And I talked really candidly about like in college, I said in college that meant making sure I had like a therapy appointment and my counseling appointment set at regular times, so that I was having a safe space to talk about and to vent about what was going on in my life, and then going into rehearsals and not taking anything that I had discussed in that, like anything that I'd sort of like complained or bitched about in the counseling. Then I got to go sort of have like a fresh slate in rehearsals and have like a clear mind of this is what's stressing me out, this is why it's stressing me out, why is it stressing me out, why X, Y, and Z, all that sort of stuff. So And I said now it's a lot of making sure I'm eating regularly, making sure that I am drinking water and I'm hydrating, and making sure that I am sleeping, and making sure that I have good work-life balance and I'm not just always like in stage manager mode. So I thought it was sort of hilarious. I had a buddy who sort of laughed at it, and we're really like 26 and that was the hardest part of your job. And then I had another friend who said, dude, like that kind of tracks. Like it's hard to do, especially in a job like stage management where everything I do is very virtual. It's a lot of emails, it's a lot of communicating, and because we have phones, everything's like instantaneous and at our fingertips. We have it all right there in front of us. So to have moments where I switch the phone off, put on do not disturb, go do what I need to do, and even still doing theater and being in rehearsal for long periods of time, and then when you get into like the show runs, especially when you work multiple jobs, it's the finding out when can I eat, how can I eat, what can I prep ahead of time, you know, just to make sure that I am doing what needs to be done so that I can continue to be healthy and productive and happy. I think that was all of the super interesting questions that I got. I get a lot of like standard ones of like, what's your favorite show and what's the favorite show you've ever done? They asked me how many shows I've done, and I did name them all. I've named every show that I've been a part of, and I think they added up to 31. I'm gonna do it real quick here and we'll see if I keep it in or not. So I did While the Lights Were Out, A Charlie Brown Christmas, Thoroughly Modern Millie, Game of Tiaras, CSI Christmas Scene Investigators, Rogers and Hammerstein Cinderella. I did Anton and Show Business, Quilters, Twelfth Night, All My Sons, that's 10, Anything Goes, Mac, Miss Witherspoon. I'm counting Chicago because I did everything but the last like 2 weeks. I did everything but Tekken Open that show. John Proctor is the villain. Songs for a New World, A Wrinkle in Time, Arsenic and Old Lace, Hamlet as an ATD, Frankenstein, so that's 20, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, The 39 Steps, Much Ado About Nothing, which again was an ATD, Mean Girls High School version, Constellations, Wizard of Oz Kid Edition, The Rose Tattoo. I did do Chicago again. I was a guest artist for Chicago teen version at my old high school. A Chorus Line, Unchained Melodies, a doo-wop musical, so that's 30. And then I did a Black Box Festival full of new plays. So that is 31 plays, musicals, and general productions that I was a part of, and I can still name them all. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to drink water and give grace, and I will see you in the next video.